join us for another episode where real men have real conversations about leadership, relationships, morality, and dominion. Welcome to MANCODE.
Viewing audience, YouTube viewing audience, we just want to welcome you back to the MANCODE conversation. If you have not been with us the last couple of weeks, man, we want you to go back, check that out. We've been talking about men needing to get the help that they need in whatever area of life they are suffering in. Don't do life alone. So go back, check that out. And while you're checking it out, definitely like it because you will. Subscribe to the MANCODE and then share it to somebody else who you think it might be a help to. So with that being said, just kind of want to not so much go off topic of where we've been, but kind of lighten it up a little bit because this popped into my head a while back. So I just want to chop this up with you guys and see what y'all think about this. Now, this to me is a hot topic with men. So that's one reason why, I'm kind of bringing this up. So let's break this down with singles dating and those married. Now I'm gonna ask y'all this, and we're gonna answer personally. Have you ever dated or with somebody who has or with someone who has a close male friend?
Yeah, I'll jump into it. Definitely, yes. And honestly, like I say, I've done it, didn't like it. It wasn't on my end because I don't personally have females as close friends. Never been my style. Never wanted to. It just wasn't me. But I did have I dated several women that came from the standpoint that, hey, I got a guy as a best friend and close friend and all this type of stuff. And I want to get into it later. So yeah, short answer, yeah, and we'll deal with more dialogue with that later. Yes.
Now, did any flags pop up?
Oh man, oh for sure. On my end, for sure, I'm asking questions and so forth. But I guess if I can get a little bit of urban here, I guess I was Joe Donut here at Boo Boo the Fool. I'm trying to be trusting on all loving and so forth. My eyes wide open, thinking that I can trust and so forth. But at the end of the day, yeah, man, there were flags, but my naivety and my willingness to trust and believe, I think it kind of hurt me a little bit in that respect.
What about any rest of y'all?
My wife had a best friend, male best friend, and he was even in my wedding. And didn't really have any kind of no drama, yeah, didn't have any drama. I don't even think they're even that close even today. I mean, we've been married for going on 22 years, but hasn't been the conversation, hasn't been a reach out, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Okay.
There's a new sheriff in town.
Well, for me, I guess I'm polar with that. I don't adjust well with others being into the picture. The room is not big enough. I'll leave it there. If I'm involved with someone, I want to be just involved with that person, so we can learn about each other, not queuing off of maybe something else that someone else has spawned. We just have our own dialogue versus having another point of view coming into play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very similar to Danielle as far as my wife having really close male best friends, and I mean a couple guys that she's really close to, and that's a result of college, right? She got to college before I did, and so her core friend groups is co-ed, right? And so she spent so much time with a lot of these people, and they're still really good friends today. And funny enough, I knew them as well. They're good friends of mine, and with them, I know the history of their relationship. There's nothing romantic. There's no dating history or anything like that. Me and whatever guy, we have a relationship. Matter of fact, I was texting one of them today. So it's not anything like best friend, like covered up with boyfriend or pretending brother or anything like that. It's just like purely friendships. And I've grown in friendship with those guys as well.
Okay. I like this. This is very this is really interesting. Different takes all around. let me drop my story on this. So this is why I'm not a fan of it per se, and I'm glad I haven't really had to encounter this since. But I was messing with a young lady back when, and it turns out she had a male friend, and she would talk his name up and everything like that. I wouldn't at the time. I really wasn't caring too much, because I was all over the place anyway. But it turned out that this best friend turned out to be her boyfriend. So again, all depends on the situation and how the cards are. But I might have played myself because I was reaping what I sowed. But anyhow, I read this article where a dating expert claims women with male friends aren't relationship material. How so? Now I'm saying like real close knit, like that's my Ace Boom. Think about that.
You said the article said that they aren't what? They aren't
Dating. They aren't relationship material.
They aren't relationship material if they have male friends, close male friends.
Right. Like a close, yeah.
Like, all right, so define close, like from your point of view, what would you define?
I would say, like y'all talk on the regular, like with a female. You talk on the regular, y'all go grab a bite to eat. You're over at each other's house. You kind of sharing life together without anything with it, but it's just platonic, if I could state it that way. But how would that be a barrier to a lot of guys?
Well,
I don't know.
Go ahead. I hear this.
I got a lot of female friends and male friends, just like, Austin was talking about before. In college, you just have like this nucleus of people who, and I would run my girlfriends past that nucleus of friends, both females and males, and I think it was beneficial because the reality of it is that sometimes, they see things you don't see. I think it's the kind of friends you have, that really plays a role in that. Now, in earlier episodes, we talked about dudes, who trying to push up, next to, saying he's a friend, but, he may have had some interest and he's just trying to hang around until, he's that fair weather friend. He's there there to pick up the pieces when, you having difficulties in our relationships. So I think it's the intent of the relationship that really plays a big factor.
Okay.
Yeah, I like this question, because first of all, I'm not going to respond just from my perspective because it's broader than that. My personal perspective, I don't think you can just take one article and just because this person wrote that and said that, you don't have to subscribe to that. But I'm not a big fan of it. But like I say, I go back. I was never one to have a whole bunch of friends. And like I say, Danielle makes a good point. If you get, it's an individual thing. If you really trust that person and that's what you like to do, I could see the value in that. But for me personally, I'm like, the fans say, man, I'm just kind of keep this thing to a very minimum, So, the less faces, the less eyes I have to see, the less lies I have to hear. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? Hey, we're gonna reduce this thing down to the lowest common denominator. You see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, and I probably think to me, people are like me back in the day. Most guys, you know what I'm saying? And that's not the case because I know if I was, you wouldn't want me to be your best friend's woman back in the day. Let's put it like that. You know what I'm saying?
You saying you was a dude I was talking about?
Yeah, I might be that guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to clarify. We did have rules now. If you were my best friend, we couldn't mess with their best friend woman. So we did have rules. But other than that, most of our guys had, 2 and 3, and I'm talking too much. But back in the day, before Christ, but at the end of the day, man, everybody was sharing.
Understood.
Yeah, I think it's all about context. I mean, based on your definition, Jonathan, then absolutely, there could be some red flags there, right? Like, I mean, if my wife, while we were dating, right before we got married and everything, if it was a guy who was, trying to feel me out, like, what you about, like this kind of stuff, hanging out with her all the time, talking on the phone with her all the time, then we would have to have some conversations, right? But I think one thing, man, is like healthy opposite sex friendships can exist. And I think like I feel like society has kind of made like male and female relationships like strictly like a sexual thing almost, to where like they can't coexist together as friends. And so I think a lot of people look at it from that lens of like, oh, that's her brother. Oh yeah, they smash and they doing this, like that ain't just her brother or whatever. But in a situation, like I said, in a situation where I felt uncomfortable and felt the need to address something, and I definitely would. And if if she wasn't willing to I guess change her views on that, then that probably would have been a red flag for me. But
Well, for my input, I would just wonder how much that would be into more of a comparison, comparing me with the friend. You know, how do I measure up? Is she using her friend to gauge me by, you know, do I meet those boxes? Can I check off the box 1, box 2, box 3, based on her and her friend's relationship?
mhm.
So I think that may get into more of a comparison. You don't weigh up to him, your response may have been a little different, you know, so I don't know, you know, now we're starting to judge based on not her perspective, but her male friend's perspective.
How does that differ from you not measuring up to a previous boyfriend?
Huh?
I mean,
Well,
the male doesn't necessarily have to be in your life for you to have to measure up to a standard that she might have for you coming in the door.
That's true, but each man coming through the door should have his own representation.
And that's the point I was trying to get you to. It
Okay.
shouldn't make a difference if he's there or not. You know, you are the representation of what you're presenting. And if she already giving you time, she's already seen something in you that she's interested in getting to know better.
Totally understand, but still, I think that those points of view can be skewed a bit based on how she, you know, meaning not the guy. It's not a competition between he and I. It's how she's going to view me based on maybe some evidence she may have gotten from him. That's where I was presenting mine.
Okay. Okay. See, that's interesting because in the article, and I'm not basing this on, you know, any merit. It's just an article, but at the same time, it was interesting because the general idea with most men is kind of an insecurity, because you don't want to deal with another guy in the picture. You want to be able to, I want to say, carve your path without any interference. You know, you want to have a direct line, a connection to her without having to bypass, bump up against, or this guy, you know, taking up time that you feel like you should have, or even conversations that you should have. So I think from that standpoint, it all kind of weighs in. So yeah, no wrong answers on this. It's just matter.
I was gonna say, I kind of have an example with what Elder Fant was saying. So I was hanging out with a guy not too long ago, and you know, he was talking about he had a close relationship with a female, and you know, they never dated, but they were interested in each other or whatever. And so he walked into like, it was like a bar or something like that, and saw his female friend with another guy, and I guess the guy was a buster. And he like, you know, he texted the girl and said, "Oh, so that's who you with?" Like that, you know, that kind of stuff. So Elder Fant, like that's the example. I mean, that's why I like your example from the standpoint of like getting an understanding of what that friendship is like, because like that, in my opinion, is like overstepping boundaries and being disrespectful to, you know, the other guy that she's in a relationship with.
And not only that, in the mind of a woman, I think you crossed the major line with her. So I think your friendship is kind of broken,
Mm-hmm.
because I think women make it more clear than men in some cases. So again, I think that's a violation. So hey, but again, a matter of your perspective. But let's say, okay, I am single and I do start dating a lady who, and her bestie, as ladies call it, is a dude. How should I go about setting boundaries so that she and I can get closer?
Well,
around
I got
relationship?
I gave this one some thought, man. I got a list here, man.
All
First of
right.
all, like
Let me get
let's
comfortable.
just
Hold on.
all right. Let's just say if I was
My
going with
recorder on
that.
too.
Okay, let's just say if I was going that, which I've already said, I don't roll like that. But first of all, man, there's some things you got to watch out for. First of all, you know, the friendship, like I say, I would have some things like, first of all, I was reading this article too, because I want to do some background on this. And they said there's certain indicators that why it's not, most people say that it's not a good idea to have these type of relationships. Because first of all, there's some things that some flags. First of all, if the person, let's say, the relationship between you and this other your girlfriend's other person, let's say if they were romantically involved at one time, okay, and they said they're no longer that, we broke it off. You see, that's one example, boom. Okay, then another one might be, let's say, for example, you and your girlfriend are having trouble, you know what I'm saying, your wife or whoever, and this guy, he wants to be that, he's making that emotional connection, they're best friends. You know how that thing works, man. And you ain't communicating, you go home, you're not talking and all that type of stuff. And if you're not talking, chances are you might not be doing a whole lot of other stuff either. You see, so it just opened too many doors. I'm not going to share everything right here because I want to hear what you guys got to say. But man, I tell you, and then again, I'm going to get spiritual with you. You don't want to give the enemy, the devil, any open doors, man. You see what I'm saying? You got to be wise with this thing. Because like I say, you got people in the church, you got people, I don't, and I'm going to use myself because when I was in the world, man, like I said, I was a good dude with like the fan. We had the rules, but I'm not going to step up on his main girl. And, because I had some boys like it, but other than that, you could do that. But my point being is, no, man, I don't want you telling my business to this person, this and that, he this, he that. That's too close to home, man, for me. So yeah, I just don't roll like that. And, I just think the negatives far outweigh the positives in my respect. But I do respect what you guys say. If that works, it's an individual thing. And as long as you're comfortable and your mate is comfortable, spouse is comfortable, hey, if that works for you, I can live with it.
Yeah, that's why I keep hitting on the point of like understanding the history of her and that particular guy. And like me personally, right? Like I would invite my mans out to go hang out, go grab a bite to eat, go hoop if he play ball or whatever, and just have a conversation and get a feel for him. And like he won't directly say anything, but my discernment would tell me, oh yeah, he like her more than she likes him, or whatever, and just see where he is, and then base my decision from there. And if I pick up on something that's a red flag, then I just walk away from that situation altogether before I get too far down the line, and then it's gonna hit the fan. It's gonna be a big blow up. It's gonna be an argument. But yeah, I'm gonna talk to you. I'm gonna feel you out, see what's going on, see what that friendship is like. Talk to my lady, get an understanding of their history as well. And if I don't feel good about it, then I'm out. So
if I could say this before anyone else jump in, I'm going to be like an employer. I'm gonna try to give you a 2-week notice so you can get everything together, get your affairs in order, so that you can get your mindset. You got 2 weeks, and then that's about it. So that's just how I am. I don't know. Maybe that's too hard, but hey, you got a 2-week notice. Serve him and let him know what's going on.
So I guess because I'm like a big brother to a lot of young ladies. I feel like if there is a male in her life, I actually feel good about the fact that male is there. Because if he's there when I enter in, that means he's been there for other things. Which means that she has some type of voice or male covering or voice basically speaking into decisions that she's making in her life. To Austin's perspective, I definitely would want to talk to whoever that person is. Like you said, take him out, get to know who he is. Because I would expect for him to want to talk to me. If I'm entering into her life, I would expect for him to want to have a conversation with me if he's that person. Because he wouldn't want to see her get hurt. He wouldn't want to see her get messed over. That would let me know what kind of person he is off jump. So, because he would value the life of that particular person.
So are you speaking as a father figure or a romantic figure?
I'm speaking as a male having female friends, and when I hear that they have somebody coming into their life, the questions that I ask them and the conversation that I want to have with that person, because you, just like you guys have been talking about, whoever basically was sharing, like you would know her shortcomings, you would know the bad relationships that she's been in before. And as that male person coming, you would want to check that dude out. You would want to see where he's coming from. You saying you want to check him out. I would think that as that male friend, that he would want to check you out to make sure that you on the up and up, that you ain't trying to just get in the draws and and just be that one off. You know what I'm saying? That you are sincere about your intentions with her life.
Yeah, I could see that too. I definitely understand where you're coming from, but I'm not giving any interviews. You know what I'm saying? It's just me, man. But I feel you, man. I like it, but
I'm just looking at it from that perspective because I've had several of those lunch meetings. I'm just saying.
I think that's great. Maybe I'm just too old, too hard. I don't know what it is. No, but yeah.
I think you equate it to more of a father figure than you do like a best friend. I think a best friend and a father figure, honestly, those two roles almost are synonymous. Because if he is her best friend, he's looking out for her.
Well,
you're looking at it from so you're taking it from a romantic perspective. You're taking it from a perspective of this dude really is shady. Like this dude he really want to be with her, and he just waiting for an opportunity. I don't always see those dudes that same way. I see them as straight up dudes that I've been rocking with her. She's been rocking with me. She been looking out for me. I've been looking out for her. She didn't told me that you need to stay away from that female. He didn't told me to stay away from that dude. Whether I took that advice or not, that was my call. But that person has been that voice and that sounding board in my life. That's all I'm saying.
I'm tracking with you, and that makes sense too. I get it. I understand where you come from.
I like the dialogue going back and forth, but I just want to add a little piece to it. I just like it. I want to sit back and just listen. But what I think should happen in a situation, and if I were involved in a situation, and I would like to see the relationship go in my favor. So what I mean by that is the quality of the relationship should be significantly leaning toward me, like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It should be more fan bound versus a straight up, because as the relationship builds, she should have more of a focal point on me than a friend anyway. So I think the energy that I'm going to bring, and he should be relinquishing that, because if he's involved in it, he'll probably see that from his source also, his outside, his filters. He'll be saying, okay, he's a good fit. And I shouldn't have to be there on a constant or any role that I used to have. I see that they're working out good. I just want to step back and let this thing rock and let them enjoy each other. Because a lot of times when you get a third wheel, you don't always go in that same direction. And that's the concerning piece. Sometimes a person can give you advice that may not be the best advice for the relationship. And they're having that third outside party trying to give up old information, because what you guys are starting is a new thing. What they had is an old thing. So you can't bring your old thing into my new thing and give good advice. So I would like to see that piece deteriorate, not end, but be less effective or less involved, having this other person being less involved.
I like that, because that's kind of where my thought process is just getting more of a separation. Because if I'm trying to develop with her, naturally I want to set up boundaries, like, okay, as far as our communication, anything that's between us, let's not discuss it outside of us. Sure. I'm not going to ask you about, I'm not going to ask, and I guess it depends really on where you are. But if I'm just getting to know, I'm not going to ask a lot of nosy questions. I'm going to get a feel for the situation. I'm also going to get a feel for how that relationship is and just try to pick up vibes on it. So I think in the sense of you guys learning how to respect one another's space, at the same time, I love what y'all said about, getting in touch with the cat, having to sit down, going out and kicking it. Pastor Malcolm, I can't knock you either with the pink slips. I mean, I'm digging on it because you can really fold all this into one. But again, you just have to be smart, know what you're getting into, and really know what you can handle. I think a lot of guys, because you see that pursuit, you think, okay, I can win this. Maybe not. Maybe step back and assess, okay, is this something that I'm gonna be banging my head against the wall, or is it gonna bring me success and joy in life? So just think about that. All I can say.
I love this conversation too, but I just can't see me. I know me, man. I can see, for example, if like even when I've been married in the church, I can understand pastors and elders in the church want to come talk to you and get to know you once you're dating people in the church. I'm cool with that. Okay, I see where you come from Father Flanagan. I see where when you want to check this cat out that's dating the sister in the church. I got it. I can roll with that. I'll play nice. I'll play nice. But somebody like Elder Fanta, I mean, not an elder, but somebody just come to me, up on me, I want to have, let me take you out. Man, get out of here, man. I ain't trying to hear what you got to say about this woman. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. Now, I must say this right. But I know me, man. And I'm not going to come to you and say, hey, man, I want to holler at you about this girl. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. But it's a personal thing. It's how you roll. And it doesn't mean that one shoe fits all. There could be a lot of different ways to go about it.
Yeah,
I just know me.
That last part is that you said is important, is all on how you go about it, right? So like in my hanging out with the guy, it's not going to be like, yo, I'm trying to scope out the relationship with you and my girl. Let's go, let's go grab dinner, grab drinks or whatever, so we can talk about this thing. It's like, no, bro, hey, I'm going to watch this game. You trying to come watch this game, and just like on a real like chill, kick it basis. But in the back of my head, I know what I'm doing, right? Like I know I'm trying to feel this cat out, but I'm not going to present the hangout in a way where it's like, all right, I'm finna vet him and see the level of friendship he got with my girl. Like I ain't from Battle Creek, Pastor Malcolm. So I ain't cut like you. I ain't cut like you in other pants. So
no, you want his guard down. You want his guard down. You don't want to face it with prepared answers. Looking to just kind of give you the representative. You want to really see the real cat. You might even want to see really if he even eyeballing other women while y'all together, because he's gonna be looking for you to do it. So you gotta kind of just feel that situation out real slick. But I like you, Austin. You being wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. I'm keeping you out there. Okay.
Wouldn't that make her unavailable though?
What you mean?
Real talk. So you basically talking to this young lady, right? And she has his best friend, right? And so if there's a struggle in that relationship, that doesn't make her available to you. That makes her unavailable. As far as I'm concerned, if you got to struggle and fight with that male best friend relationship, that means that she really doesn't have interest in building a relationship with you. So that's what I want to see, because if I'm not going to fight with that. And I can see you already in a relationship when I'm not interested in entanglements. So, we just fall back and just let me know when you're available. And then move on.
I like that.
But
I like that. But with that, seems like the guy will be wanting to move on because he might be looking, what's the best for the relationship? What's the best thing for her? If she's my best friend, I should have her best interests at heart, right? Therefore, if there's an issue, a best friend is going to step back and let things happen and be there for the fallout, if there, in fact, there is fallout.
Then he should.
Say, you waiting on you to mess up.
Yeah, right.
He said, be there for the fallout.
Yeah,
No, that's a good take on it, because I like how in the beginning Danielle said, hey, eventually, the relationship between the friends, it just kind of fell off. That's the ideal. That's what you want. Because, but the thing about it is, you have to look at it from two standpoints. Okay, number one, do I even want to get involved with somebody that has a friend like that? Number two, if I'm getting into it and I'm seeing that I'm not making traction, don't be stupid. Back off. But at some point, you're gonna have to test the water. If she's worth that pursuit in your head, you're gonna have to test the waters out. You're gonna have to cross that bridge and see, okay, is this something that I can work with? Or is this gonna be an experience that I was like, I shouldn't have messed with that? Either way, it's gonna have to be a decision made. So either way you go. That's all I'm saying. But so let's say this.